Hey guys, welcome back. So like I promised, this video is going to be about how each life path number can escape the matrix, okay? Basically alleviate themselves of those life path energies, of those influences bestowed upon us by these archons, by these beings, the rulers of fate, of our scripted lives, the ones we potentially made consensual being in what's the word quotation marks, consensual agreements, right? We were so in a sense manipulated into these contracts, promised better lives, or rather promised lives filled with punishment and lessons and trauma and things like that. Okay, so this is also going to be going off a thread that I posted on Twitter in regards to tying the life path numbers to the Matrix characters. So let me explain that a little bit before I dive deeper into the aspects of each number and how to escape the Matrix. So I assimilated Neo, right, the main protagonist of the film, as the number 7, even though it can be seen as the one. Even though Neo is an anagram for 1, because he does stand alone. He is seen as the savior. Even he's seen as the one, right? He's seen as someone special. Now, 7s usually stand alone. We see at the beginning of the film, Neo is found in front of a computer. 7s usually enjoy being alone and are more introverted, especially the pure 7s, the ones that don't have other numbers to help them express themselves, and will more than likely pick up some sort of matrix job as a programmer, right? Essentially programming the matrix for the matrix or a different matrix, really. So he's found in front of the computer, and then all of a sudden he gets a message. Now, these 7s are also seekers, right? They're the ones that chase the rabbit down the rabbit hole. And they have a very interesting relationship with the seers, which I attributed to 11s, right? The seeker in this matrix somehow always attracts the seer, the oracle, right? And we see Neo attracting or being led to the oracle. Again, that's a 7-11 dynamic, which is another point arguing for the case that Neo is more than likely a 7. Neo is more than likely this very quick learner that is being taught by Morpheus. Morpheus being like a teacher, a visionary, and the number 9 encompasses these ideas. This guardian of knowledge, gatekeeper, right? The one between worlds, right? The 9 is the one between the numbers 1 through 9, and then the master numbers, we could say 11, 22, and 33. Although I am potentially combining philosophies here and numerological ways of thought. Now, these 7s, so quick learner, right? Seekers, things like that. But the numbers that have the greatest chance, in my opinion, of actually waking up and leaving the matrix, and this may be a faulty train of thought, because this is for the assumption that they aren't already divine sparks, and this is for the plane souls, the demiurgic souls that have the chance of asking to be filled with spirit, right? Of realizing what this place really is, that it is a matrix. And these numbers would be the numbers 1, 4, 7, 9, 11, and 33. Okay. Now, before I explain those, let me just say, if you don't know how to calculate your life path number, you take all your numbers, you add them to one single digit, or you add them to get a sum, and then you reduce them to a single digit. For example, 219, 2000, February 19th, 2000. You're born on that date, let's say. 2 plus 1, 3, plus 9, 12, plus 2, 14, equals 1 plus 4, then you reduce that, the 14 equals 5. So you would be a life path 5 if you're born on February 19th, 2000. Now, in some cases, those numbers end up being numbers such as 11, 22, or 33, right? So instead of getting 14, you get 11, 22, or 33. You don't reduce those numbers. You keep it that way. Okay? And if you want more information, then I'm going to discuss in this video regarding your life path or regarding all the numbers in your chart. I do conduct actual numerological readings, which I help you basically alleviate yourself of all of the energetic influences of the numbers, not just what I'm talking about here, and the combinations that happen within your chart, and more details, especially regarding to your name, potential events or future energies that could be influencing you, and things like that. And I'll link that either in the description or the comments below. And I'm also offering recently like spiritual consultations, like over Zoom. Some people have been asking me for that, so I will be offering that as well soon. So just let me know if that's something you're interested in as well. But like I said, the numbers 1, 4, 7, 9, 11, 22, and 33. Now, the main premise of these numbers is that they're able to stand alone, think differently, and rebel. Okay? You will not, and see. Stand alone, think differently, be able to see, and rebel. So the ones are very independent. They're more than likely going to start their own path, right? And if they're able to start their own path, it's easier for them to break out of the matrix because they follow their own path, which is usually a road less traveled by. And that's what you need to break out of something. You have to forge a path for yourself and then for others that follow you. The 4s are natural rebels. Okay, they think outside the box. The 4 is the box, but they can see the box, right? They can, in order to fully see something, you have to look at it from outside. In order to fully understand the universe, you have to see it from outside. You can't be looking and understanding the universe from within. You can't see the forest from within it because all you're seeing are the trees. You have to have a neutral exterior perspective. You have to be able to take your consciousness and observe it from outside, in a sense, from a different perspective, right? Only then can you see that the universe is actually finite in nature, rather than the illusion of infinity of movement that we've been led to believe. 4s can do this, okay? 7s, like I described Neo, these 7s are mystics, seekers, but the thing with the 7s is they can be led to false paths, false knowledge, and if they don't have the qualities to see past, like I said, the universe, past the knowledge that is shown, that is presented, they will be stuck within the infinite dynamics that are presented within the actual universe. For example, if you can't understand that there is another number past the number 1, then you will be stuck in 0 to 1, in the infinite and the infinity within those two numbers, such as we have 0.1 to 0.9, and in between, or rather 0.01 to 0.99, and it goes deeper and deeper, 0.001 to 0.099, right? See how the infinity always stretches and stretches, but becomes like a hyperbole, never actually reaching 1, or never actually reaching past the number 1. And there are these two barriers, and the same with the larger numbers, right? We have the positive infinities and the negative infinities. So they can be stuck looking at knowledge and never actually realizing truth. They can get to things like numerology and astrology and thinking these are the truth. Well, no, they're just components of knowledge within a larger truth that exists that needs to be analyzed. Number 9s, like Morpheus, they're visionaries, right? They see the bigger picture, and they have a very strong goal, strong focus. And if they can channel this strong focus into realizing the truth and exiting, that is powerful. Number 11, very strong seers. They may not realize the truth through knowledge, But all of a sudden they start seeing entities. All of a sudden they start seeing something's messed up, something's going on. And then they start thinking and they start making connections and seeing the patterns. And they realize, oh, wait a second, something is wrong. We're in a matrix. The number 33, these are actually the least likely, in my opinion, out of all the numbers I've mentioned. These numbers can be great teachers, can attract large audiences, but they can be very much stuck and attached to that power trip, that ego that they get from these audiences. So we'll talk about that in the numbers. So let's start with the numbers on what they need to let go of. So number one, excuse me. Number one, these people can be very goal-oriented. It can be very set on achieving status, on achieving fame, on achieving control, leadership. They may be put in these positions of leadership, and they may be praised for their guidance and their advice and be looked to as leaders, and they can get attached to that. They can, especially if they have fears, they can become controlling so as to micromanage people and situations, and that becomes their glue to this world. So something they would need to let go of would be attachment to outcome. For example, attributing their whole identity to their leadership skills or how well they managed a situation, whether the result was good or bad, right? Because a leader is always either praised or criticized for they take the most out of whatever happens as a result. And when everything's going well, oh, the president, oh, it's such a great president, he's amazing. When things go downhill, oh, it's all the president's fault. Oh, see, you guys made a horrible decision. This guy's horrible. He doesn't know what he's doing, right? This is common people thought, right? People that can't achieve higher mind. And this is a characteristic that I was going to mention when talking about these numbers, how they're supposedly the best for exiting the matrix, the 1, 4, 7, 9, 11, 33. Like I said, they need to possess the ability to think higher, right? That quality, tapping into a higher mind, is a quality of the divine spark. So whether you are those numbers or not, okay, and I mentioned this with the plain souls aspect, whether you're those numbers or not, you can still possess those qualities if you can see, if you have that ability to connect to something outside of this creation, connect to the true creation outside of this false creation, right? Okay, so that was number one. Number two, very much people, very much people pleasers, very much people oriented, can be very focused on relationships. These twos do not know how to stand alone. They need a partner, so they get attached to people easily, and it can be hard for them to let go of that, and especially their emotions. They attach their emotions to objects, they attach their emotions to people, to situations, and they get stuck in the past, especially if it was a traumatic event. If it's going good, then it becomes deeper and deeper and deeper, and upon death, that can be an ultimate trauma for them because they were so attached to that person or that place or whatever, and they never really realized that in their life. Number three, this goes kind of what I was saying with the 33. These threes are very ego-centered. They can be very attached to this idea of being a teacher, to their knowledge, right? They will think they're right. They can pick up a sort of belief that aligns with their way of thought, and they will see it through till the end, saying, nope, this is how it's got to be. It's not, there's no way it can be any different than this, right? They have a sort of unconscious refusal to accept anything different because it's just tradition, right? They're very much followers of tradition. They may impose their own unique, egoic way of doing things, but it's part of their tradition, right? You can't disrespect tradition. These people are more likely, you can find them very much so as gurus, like spiritual gurus, or as gurus from India, where you can't disrespect the gods, right? There are types of people that will very much give all their power away to these gods or something like that, or these ideas that they so tightly hold on to as virtues or values, right? And I've explained in other videos how these virtues are just illusions in this world, because there's nothing really virtuous here. They're just two sides of the duality, of the coin of duality. Fours can be very much distraught with illusion, can get caught up in illusion. They can, likely fall into things like New Age. They can fall into the thing with fours, that being natural rebels, they won't fall for the typical illusions. Okay, they're not going to say, oh yeah, I gotta be a good boy, go to school, or oh yeah, Christianity, that's the religion that I need to follow and respect. No, they're gonna be like, oh, they're gonna get into witchcraft or something alternative, because they're rebels. They're natural outsiders, right? They can see outside the box, but they can still be prey to illusion and to illusory forms of thought, because they're so good at convincing others, and they're so good at convincing themselves that something is true, that even though it might not be true, they'll still accept it as true, right? So that's something they need to pay attention to. And they can very much be caught up in ego and desire, and the fulfillment of these desires, leading to more and more and more desires, right? They can never get enough. This is similar to 5. 5 is very much about pleasure, right? That's why these people are seen as sex objects by some numerologists. Like, oh, they're 5s are the sexiest things on earth. Well, they're pleasure seekers, right? They can very much be addicted to everything that's positive in life, and they seek to add the most positivity to their own lives and the most benefit they can, the most pleasure they can, the most comfortability. They seek to be comfortable, right? Although they are in a number of change, they dislike change. It really pisses them off, to be honest. It's the number of quick money, the number of quick everything. They can be addicted to a quick lifestyle, right? But it has to be within their reins, in their method of control. The good thing about these people is they don't get attached easily, right? So they're not emotional and like that. They're more mental, but very much pleasure seekers, and they can fall into a lot of addictive tendencies, drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, things like that. So these are the things that they need to be aware of and let go of, for their matrix exiting purposes. Same with 6. 6s are very similar, very much in the world. They like beauty. They like all things that are beautiful in their life. Will purchase the nice clothes, the nice car, the nice home. They will seek to this fly is really annoying. They will seek to make themselves more beautiful. They will naturally appear more attractive to others, and can have many suitable partners in that regard as well. And they can very much be swayed by the person that is very attractive or alluring or rich, materialistic, or show off in some way, because they're so attached to those material pleasures that they gain, and they think, oh well, if I had all this money, imagine how beautiful I could make my house, or imagine how beautiful I could make this landscape, right? It's all about beauty. And then they may even see the whole earth as beautiful, and they won't realize that the tragedies that actually happen here, and why this place isn't our true home, right? The 7s, 7s can be so alone, can be so withdrawn, that they do not find that connection in others, and they get lost in depression, and they get lost in drugs, and they get lost in alcohol, they get lost in their own mind. They're trying to shut down their mind. They're trying to shut out the thoughts, right? They develop attachments with entities because they're so mental. But the positive of that is that through that aloneness, they can maybe discover their true selves through contemplation, through meditation. Again, if they don't get stuck within the barriers of limited knowledge, and they actually seek the whole truth. 8s are, again, another materialistic number. very set forth on achievement, on hard work, on always doing something, always being of service, serving others, doing good in the world. That can be their big goal. Also, forgiveness is a big part of what they need to do, because they can hang on to grudges. They can accumulate a lot of karma, because they can seek revenge again, then to try and justify what was done to them, right? Even though that may have been part of another false karmic contract that they agreed to, right? Initially being punched in the face by someone, and then they go seek to punch them back. Well, that just creates another cycle that then has to be supposedly fulfilled, right? That's what they'll tell you. Well, you punched them back, now they, kind of have to punch you again, right? You still didn't understand the lesson. But the eights can also experience lots of trauma, lots of difficulties in their life, and to try to make sense of this, to try to romanticize it and put a positive spin on it, they can say, oh, well, it was for my benefit. See how much of a stronger person it made me. It's all about strength, right? It's all about character, ethics. They use a number of ethics. It gave me ethics. It gave me character because I was put through that trauma. And no, it's not. It was a cycle that was designed to keep you there. But you were able to get out of that. You're able to heal that. And guess what? When you come back, the same things will happen, right? Just in a different way, if you choose to come back. So that's something they need to be aware of. Number 9, another action-oriented number. This is a number of Mars. Very fiery, very focused, brave, courageous. These people are martyrs, right? They will die for you. They will go out and destroy a whole society to serve you. They consider you the king. They consider you their true leader, right? Like Morpheus, he was willing to do anything for Neo. He considered him the true one, right? Even though, like I said, I don't think he was the one, but whatever. For someone they regard as the king, these people will go and die for them. They can very much be martyrs. They're justice seekers, right? So they seek to have this. They have this large goal. They're visionaries, and they want to create justice in the world. They want to create something large. They're humanitarians. They want to help in some way, whether their idea of help is skewed or not, right? These people can be either very positive or very negative, because pretty much every serial killer, every negative person believed that they were doing the right thing. So these 9s can get lost in this false positivity, in this false idea that they are helping in some way, that they're creating a better place, even if it's in their own four corners of the world. And all that does is creates an imbalance. Okay, you've created all this positivity here, so now all this negativity is going to show up on this other side, right? Because it's a dual world, right? That's what these Masons do. They control both sides in the world. They create a problem, then they offer a solution, balance, right? They're manipulating both sides. The 11s are very similar to the 2s. They can get very emotional and attached to people and their own emotions. They may not be able to control them very well. They can get lost in their own psychic visions, in their own dreams, maybe not understanding them fully, or maybe even developing an ego around them and their own gifts, right? The final test kind of in this world is this power, this godlike power where these sages talk about, in which just prior to enlightenment you're able to like levitate or have telekinesis or something like that, where these gifts are given to you by potentially the creator of this world, aka Lucifer, and kind of like a final level to say, hey, are you sure you don't want to stay here? Because look how powerful I've made you, right? So, the 11s could get attached to these gifts. Not necessarily that they'll have telekinesis and that, but, their psychic abilities. 22s can get similar to 9s, obsessed with building things, obsessed with creating bigger, better, and, you know, the 4 energy, more and more and more and more, and I need more. I need to satisfy my desire, and it's never enough. And they just need bigger and build bigger and make more money and develop more. Right? They can very much get attached to that. And the 33s have a very high sense of ego. They get attached to how much people they think they serve, how much people they think they help. Well, look how big and mighty I am. Look how good I am because I've helped all of these people. I've offered them so much knowledge. Surely I am the best, right? And they develop that aspect, or they possess that aspect because of that. All right, well, that was a long video, but hopefully you guys got something out of that knowledge. Again, if you want, you know, numerology reading, this is what I've transitioned my work into, not simply just telling people what they are or things like that, although that is part of the reading, but helping them, you know, to alleviate themselves of these influences so that they can tap into the true self, the higher self, and put the ego, the false sense of self that is governed by these numbers, by astrology, put that on the back burner, right? Let that take a seat to the higher self consciousness, the true source consciousness. Yeah. All right, so leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. Give the video a like. Tomorrow, potentially, I will have a video describing a false version of Earth in the astral. All right, someone's going to be on the channel providing an interview in which she will detail something like this, right? Kind of like a holding center. Should be very interesting. So subscribe and stay tuned for that. I'll see you guys next time.